Welcome to episode 100, this is about what, 120 something? The Corey Shepherd podcast. Welcome back to everybody who's been listening. Welcome to all the new listeners. Hey, what? I know I tell all you I done recording for the year, right? And I was done. I say I'm taking a rest and I come back fresh next year. But where respect is due, respect must be paid. We're here to celebrate the life of the great one.
We seem to feel that life is over just because we throw a few pennies down the gutter. We seem to feel everything is lost, so we fighting to get back something at any cost. But while we searching just to get back that little something, we forgetting we knows nothing about this world in which we live in. Someone greater put this world together, so we must remember. In times of plenty we must be grateful. In times of sorrow we must be strong. In times of joy we must be thankful, because life really have its ups and its downs. In times of disaster we must be ready to join together and move racism out the way. And if you listen to this watchword from your lover, Black Stalin, tomorrow would be a better day. Better day, better day, better day.
This is a listening episode, and I'm not talking about nothing else but the boss himself, the great Black Stalin. We're celebrating his life. You have no sadness around this. I know it has plenty of years where he was off the scene and he was unwell. I just want to take a moment to celebrate the lyricist that Black Stalin is. Listen to the lyrics now.
We meet a world today with 4 seasons. Who is we to try and find out what's the reason? And what goes wrong so must come back wrong so. Why that is so, nobody don't know. And there are so much other mysteries that nobody still can answer. So we just gotta say thanks and keep looking to the future, because this world is not ours to control, it is just to behold. In times of plenty we must be grateful. In times of sorrow we must be strong. In times of joy we must be thankful, because life really have its ups and its downs. In times of disaster we must be ready to get together and move racism out the way. And if you listen to this watchword from your lover, Black Stalin, tomorrow would be a better day. Better day, better day, better day.
And this, you see this verse coming here? I know I say this often, but in terms of lyrics, one of the best verses ever written in a calypso.
As we go through this life we live in,
listen good.
We must know by now that this world owes us nothing. So live your life and just enjoy it. And let's try to leave this world better than we find it.
Yeah, man.
Because the maker of this world with nobody have no contract. It have no paper that could tell we that tomorrow going to come back. Look ahead, for tomorrow you're dead. after all is said. In times of plenty we must be grateful. In times of sorrow we must be strong. In times of joy we must be thankful. Because life really have its ups and its downs. In times of disaster we must be ready to get together and move racism all the way.
And if you listen to this, watch words from your lover, Black Stalin. Tomorrow will be a better day. Listen, the great Leroy Calliste, Black Stalin. He's celebrating in life. There's no sadness in this, because we can't lose him. They say Rapsoman don't die, Rapsoman is multiply. Same thing with Kaisoman, it have nothing to lose. But I have Stalin down as one of my favorite calypsonians of all times because of the topics he chose, the way he put together lyrics. I have him down as the greatest lyricist in calypso, with all due respect to the Rudders and some of the names I wouldn't call. But Stalin, the way he put together lyrics, the topics that he chose, many people will stay away from those things. And he put his finger in his soul in many areas. And we thank him for that. And we thank him for all that he has done. And in the latter years here, you hear how many calypsonians coming out and saying that he was a mentor to them, the Bungie Garlands, the Fayans, the Marshall. I saw posts about him as well. So many people he would have influenced and touched and made himself available to give advice. I have a little story about Stalin, and I'll get to that too. I have a little, he influenced and touched me too, you know what I mean? But I want to go back to the last verse of the song and understand why, for me, this is one of the greatest songs Black Stalin ever did. And this wouldn't have been one of his earlier songs. You know? The name of the song is In Times. Go and take it in. I might play it again before the episode done too. But this was where he won his last Calypso Monarch in 1995, I believe. And that song In Time is well put together. And the lyrics, the last verse in particular, where you hear this, right? He says, as we go through this life we live in, we must know by now that this world will owe us nothing. So live your life and just enjoy it. And let's try to leave this world better than we find it. Hear the part, eh? Because the maker of this world with no body, have no contract, it have no paper that could tell we that tomorrow going to come back. So look ahead, cause tomorrow you're dead. After all is said, when you listen to this, I wonder if you write this for yourself, you know what I mean, in passing. It's such a fitting tribute to the man that was Black Stalin. And all we're doing for this episode is taking in some of Black Stalin songs and breaking down some of the lyrics, you know, because the man was just an icon. It's hard to put it into words. You will always hear people talk about the Kitcheners, the Sparrows, the Nelsons, the people who are the top, the Calypso Rose. And somehow, for me, people who really know Kaiso and true lovers of the art form will know what Stalin is and what he represented. But I wonder sometimes if he's underrated and he underappreciated for what he has brought to the table and the legacy he's left us with, not just in terms of quality of music, but the quantity of music that he has that somehow you don't hear played. I don't know if in his early days, much of it wasn't recorded, but a lot of them you might only find in live performances when you go back and you look at the tent and so on. But he's easily up there with the greatest of all time, if not the greatest of all time. Auntie Merle said to tell all you that is her favorite calypsonian, and she waiting for this episode too. But the lyrical prowess, I just want to go back and tell you a little history of who he was, right? Born in Chisholm Street in San Fernando. Went to San Fernando Boys RC, which seemed to be San Fernando. Something happening in South. Between Boys RC, what happening in Siparia. Something happening in South where music is concerned. But I heard him talking, and salute again to places like When Steel Talk, GBTV, Calypso Showcase with Alvin Daniel. Salute to all these people, because I guarantee you it's hard for me to get a lot of information outside of these sites. But he was quoted as saying that the Good Shepherd Hall in St. Madeleine, Good Shepherd Hall, as a shepherd, I would like to put that out there, is where he really took Calypso seriously and went on to sing his first Calypso. And the song he sang first was Why Be a Calypsonian. I think that is an instructive thing with where he started off. And this would be as early as the early 60s, I want to believe. If not late 50s, early 60s. And just a point to note, like starting off your career with why be a calypsonian. You know, they have some books that go wrong now and they popularize like what is your why and find the why or begin with the why and so on. It's so prophetic that somebody like Stalin could have started off with a calypso, like why be a calypsonian? And starting with your why like that, all the books now will tell us if you begin with your why, it's about purpose, right? It's about finding what you was put on this earth for. Maslow used to say it's about self-actualizing, figuring out what is the reason you're here, and then living your life to fulfill that reason. And up to today, we could safely say that if you listen to his songs, if you listen to his words when he talk or see his stage presence and who he is, or look at him even when he was ill. Look at the videos from his house where he was vibing with Roy Cape, vibing with Mr. Shaq and them. You see so many artists pass through and just hold our vibes with Stalin, young and old. It shows that he understood from the beginning of his career in that Good Shepherd Hall in St. Madeleine why be a calypsonian. And even as he went through singing different types of songs, and he never limited himself to being Trinidadian, he always saw himself as a black man, as a Caribbean man, as a world man. And it showed in the topics of his songs because, again, while you have many, many artists who would sing about current affairs in Trinidad and Tobago, he was singing about current affairs up the region and current affairs throughout the world and documenting these things for us. And for the life of me, I only know where I will go back, right? Because I can't understand why. And I feel this way even more so now. I'll be honest with you, right? I've been kind of having this episode in mind for some time. Because Stalin outlived real people. And when you hear Stalin was sick and he had a stroke, he can't sing again and all these things, you start to wonder, boy, we're going to lose this man. We're going to lose one of the giants. Quiet so. You know, I wonder sometimes when I see a budget of $174 million for Carnival, I wonder how come some of our icons, not saying that Stalin is one, of course, I'm talking in general now, but you wonder how some of our icons die off on a whimper, on almost a dung tick, you know, when we should be elevating them and lifting them up in life and in passing. But Stalin leave back the Fosto. I remember mommy was reminding me that the Fosto and Stalin had gotten sick around the same time. He leave back the Fosto roots, man. Singing Francine passed recently. Rest in peace and condolences to her family. Who again I'm missing? Blacks, the great Blacks. So many artists or so many calypsonians passed through and passed away during the time that Stalin was sick. And it always takes me back to this first song, like why be a calypsonian? And you could see that if he knew his purpose, he found himself, he self-actualized many times over. Because I will encourage you to go and look for Black Stalin Calypso Showcase and just watch his story there. Watch his story of how long it took him to get success. He was saying that it took him 20 years before he even make the final and contend really. In 72, I believe he was saying that he said 72 was one of the greatest Calypso Monarch finals he was ever in. Because I think Sparrow went with Do Back, but Duke was coming off of 4 straight. Relator was singing Gavaskar. Chalk does had a big song, I think is the song about Carl. I can't remember the name of the song offhand, but he's singing in a competition with big guns, heavy hitters, and he came fourth in that competition. He was talking about 20 years of trying to figure it out. He also spoke about many times in between where he finally wasn't hitting and he not connecting with the people, and you know, he take a break. He said there was one year he went to Calypso Monarch. He said, boy, I had a song and I know I could do something, but I was studying the art form. So I decided, here what? I ain't going on the big stages here. I ain't entering no competition. I'm a song on them, but I ain't entering. I go in and sit down in the savannah and watch the show like a patron to start to understand how to better connect with the people and better connect with the crowd. I always remember mommy telling me as well that she when she was looking at Stalin coming up, she used to say, you know, something about Stalin, it took him a while to get right with the people. And he said it himself. He was saying, listen, I went and say, I want to see what the audience seeing. And listen, when you get to the later years, which we'll get to, right, you could see the difference in the way he connected with the audience. He said that he won the Southern Calypso Crown in 62 in Empire Cinema, competing against people like Maestro, Duke, Composer, and so on. And he had in there a tribute to Larry Constantine. The two songs was Let's Unite and a tribute to Larry Constantine. This was one of the other things that stood out in Stalin's career and in his life. He took time to admire, maybe even pattern himself, and show respect to several people in the industry. Several people. When you go back through his catalog or through his discography, you could find tributes as wide and across the world as from Andre Tanker, Winston Spree, Maestro, Jet Samaru, a tribute to Martin Luther King. That was a moving tribute as well. And that stood out to me because sometimes you see people at the top trying not to call names. That's why I find a fumbling. But you find that when people are at the top, they scarcely take the time to step back and acknowledge other people who may be equal to them, better than them, or might not have had the success that they have had, but who they recognize have put in the work and have accomplished things and reached a certain pinnacle, whether it be the pinnacle that you want or not, higher, lower, or in between. But you take that person and you don't just see them out there and say, boy, I really like what you just do, you know what I mean? I just keep going and them kind of things, but you take them and you immortalize them in song. I think that was a special thing. And going back to that why be a calypsonian, it's clear to me that one of Stalin's whys was acknowledge the people who are around you, acknowledge the people who are doing well, acknowledge the youths who coming up. Find a way to immortalize them. It's not just about him. And I want to play for you one of the, again, this is also from his last Calypso Monarch. So the last Calypso Monarch he had was 95, and the two songs were In Times, which I just played, and I love it. It's one of my favorite. It's hard to say it's my favorite one because I'm a favorite one, but it is easily one of my favorite, and that last verse is hit. But this is his second song he win with, which is one of the greatest tributes I ever hear.
With Roy Cape and my good friend Sunda Popo, I tell him that I want to sing a Chutney, and he is the right man to help me. He tell me that as soon as he reach back down, he going to do for me a nice composition. His years now are waiting and I'm still waiting for Sunda Popo just to write the thing. Sunda where me song, where me song, Sunda where me song, you promised me so long. You think it gon' make you party, it gon' make Ricky, it gon' make Yankaran, it gon' make Charlene. Sunda where me song, you promised me so long. Sunda, 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 Sunda where me song, you promised me so long. Partner from since the days of Nani and Nana. He is the man who really started Chutney and paved the way for Ricky and Dupati. So now I want to do for you a Chutney jam. I must go to the best composer in the land, and the best Chutney composer everybody know is nobody else but Sundar Popo. Look, Sundar, where the song, where the song, Sundar, where the song, you promised me so long. You said it gon' make two party, and go make Ricky, it gon' make Rasnan go, and go make Yankaran. Sundar, where the song, you promised me so long. Sundar, 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 where the song, you promised me so long.
Ay, 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 ay. Ay, 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 ay. Ay, 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 ay. Sundar were my song you promised me so long. The man used to take time out to acknowledge and pay tributes to people. And I mean, use the giant people should be paying tribute to you, right? But wait to think about this for a second for me, right? Stalin had many songs. As I say, he saw himself as a black man. And he had many, many songs about being a black man. I hear in one of his, doing research, I want to give credit to the right people, and I want to say it's TTT, right? I was seeing some interviews with Ardeen Serju, Franca Phillips, Tricanal, Wendell Man Warren, Lou from Freetown, and Joshua Grella, the Pan Man, Jr., the young one, the Pan Man. And Franca Phillips in particular was saying that one of the songs that stood out for her was Black Man Feelings a Party, right? And she said one of the things about Black Man Feelings a Party is that is the only song she ever see make everybody accept themselves as a black man. I quoted wrong, right? But what she was trying to say was when they say Black Man Feelings a Party, everybody, you look at it now, if you play that in a party now, everybody responds to that song as if he's singing about them. With the Black Man Feelings a Party, it doesn't matter what race you are, everybody was feeling like if it was part of it. But back in the day when Stalin was singing several songs about being African, about being black and so on, a lot of these songs that we find popular now, our age group and our era, and even younger than us find popular now and love. At the time, he was being accused of being racist, like being separatist and being, you know, you're talking about black people, like if you don't have other people in the movements and in the tents and in Calypso and in Trinidad and Tobago. And I found that this Sundar, right, is almost like a by the way song for a lot of people with Stalin, which is hard to say, right, because it up there with his biggest. But if people name top 10s of what they consider Stalin top 10 songs, Sundar ain't go pop up with plenty of people top 10. But this is why I feel is one of the greatest songs for me. You notice in this song he was paying tribute to Sundar Popo, but he also make time within this song, and this is why he's the greatest lyricist to have, you know, to make sure I pay a tribute to Ricky Jai, to Charlene Boudram, to Yankaran, to Drupati. So what to me he was isolating Sundar Popo for a tribute, as he said that was his friend. But I think that it was a way for him to be able to identify that, listen, all these years after, because remember this is 95, right? This is after he done passed the worst in terms of them accusations and thing already and come out on the best side. But it was really an acknowledgement to Chutney music as a whole and to show that, listen, me are nothing against no other people. I am a musician. I love music. I love everybody. Sundar Popo is my Indian brother, but I see Ricky and I see Charlene, I see Yankaran, I see Nanku, I see what these people doing, and I want to be able to acknowledge it and take a minute to pay tribute to it. So as we pay tribute to the great Black Stalin, we had to remember these things and look at how many people he chose to put up on a pedestal. And I know there's a Stalin episode there, but you had to bear with me. I'll tell people I was done recording for the year. You had to bear with me here because there's a calypsonian who passed away on the 16th of December. And it would be remiss of me not to pay tribute to this calypsonian as well. So as much as Stalin was a man who used to pay tribute to everybody, I hope that Stalin and the Stalin fans could bear with me as I pay a quick tribute to the great singing Francine. Within the Stalin tribute, I ain't taking nothing away from nobody, you know, because these people deserve their own episode and thing. But as I say, I done record for the year, right? So I just want to take a little piece, with all due respect, out of Stalin tribute to pay respect to singing Francine. Because within the Christmas time here, this is a woman who we'd have listened to many times, give you things like this.
Mother of her firstborn king conceived her first offspring, gave birth in holy land to this giant of a man. let us sing. Maria, 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 Maria. He is our Savior. Let's anoint his head with oil and serenade our firstborn boy.
I know all done in carnival mode already since Boxing Day, but it's singing Francine, so we had to do it like this.
Born to us, a child was born. Born to us, an ever-loving son. Like a thief in the night, he shone his light. For he meant to harm, he came to save us from damnation. Hooray, hooray, hurrah, 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 they say. Our Savior is born today. He's running close to light, while the shepherds cry. For they just wouldn't believe their eyes. And when he come around, you know they're non-Christians. Get together and come nails in the hand. But on the third day, he rose again. So you see, he shed his blood for we.
This is Caribbean.
Alright, Caribbean vibes. Hear what? Outside of the Christmas, right, which people know Singing Francine for, there's a particular song by Singing Francine I want to play quick before we get back to Stalin. I had to play the whole song, though. Because just like how Stalin was taking serious topics and making it, I hear Franco Phillips say something again, not a quote. She say something like he had an iron fist with a velvet glove. It's one of the best descriptions I ever hear, you know, because Stalin was taking serious topic and make people listen, sit down, take it in, absorb it, dance to it and thing. And singing Francine have a song along similar lines as well, and a way you take it in, a song that's relevant up to today. Listen lyrics.
You went and you put gold ring on she hand. You boasting in tongue that you is she man. She said that you love, she boasting with joy. She give you a baby boy. Little did she know you wanted a man. Your next lady friend couldn't make the grade. Now she sit down and wondering what to do. How to get away, how to get away, how to get away from you. Childers run away, boulders run away, Roman captors run away when you're treating them bad. Colders run away, doctors run away. What happened to you? Woman, you could run away too. Get out.
Message.
You went and you put gold teeth in she mouth. As all you get vexed, you cough in it all. You making she shame all over the place. Man, you is a damn disgrace. Not even to church now she cannot go. She begged for little love, you telling she no. She frightened like hell to make a buck now. How to get away? How to get away? How to get away from you? Daughters run away, childers run away, woman stepdaughers run away when man chicken them down. Boulders run away, daughters run away. Don't sit down and scream, woman put two wheels on your heels. Get out. If she brings you friends to visit the home, you insulting she, you calling them low. If she talk to Craig, you say she with him like she is a slut. Puppy. Morning, noon, and night you blowing she mind. You bringing she all out before she time. 7 years you living in misery. Woman run away. Woman run away. Woman run away from here. Dog does run away. Cow does run away. Lady cat does run away when man treating them bad. Cow does run away. Dog does run away. Don't sit down and speak. Woman put two heels on your heels. Keep on running.
So singing Francine, Miss Francine Edwards, the great, passed away, as I say, on the 16th of December last year or this year, 2022, right? According to when you're listening to it. So singing Francine, go back and take in some of singing Francine music too, because she was not just the parang lady, you know what I mean? We know her a lot for the parang songs or the soca parang songs, and a very, very different style, extremely distinct voice. But she was big on woman empowerment, and some of these songs that she sings so relevant to what we're dealing with today in terms of the women's movement in today's world, you know what I mean, and gender equality and all that. So just a quick moment to acknowledge singing Francine. It does not do any justice to her career and who she was as a person, but I didn't want the episode to pass without acknowledging that, and for the year to finish without acknowledging it. Now, as we're talking about singing Francine and women empowerment, they have some songs by Stalin that is love songs, right? That again, I find they're not rated. And I don't know if people don't like them or people never hear them, but I want to play a couple of them. And I have plenty heavy hitters to get to, you know, so I'm going through them quick. But I want to take in this song from Stalin, from one of my sweetest from him. You go hear why he call himself my lover, Black Stalin here.
I have this deep gut feeling I'm going to see you tonight. Darling, I know when I see you everything gonna be alright. No other woman ever make me feel like you do. Darling, I know deep in your heart you're feeling the same way about me too.
I never felt this, oh girl.
What we have is very special.
Yes.
Just to have someone like you. The thought of you gets me so excited, and I'm lost in this world without you. Darling, you are my shining star,
Shining star.
and I love you just the way you are.
Just the way you are.
Darling, you are my shining star,
Shining star.
and I love you just the way you are.
Just the way you are.
After so long I have waited, I'm so glad now that you are here. Of all the girls I have dated, there's no one there to compare. Flames of desire raise from the top of my soul. From a simple touch of your finger, I get out of control.
I never felt this, oh girl.
What we have is very special. I've been blessed with someone like you. The thought of you gets me so excited, and I'm lost in this world without you. Darling, you are my shining star,
Shining star.
and I love you just the way you are.
Just the way you are.
Darling, you are my shining star,
Shining star.
and I love you just the way you are.
Just the way you are.
What we have is very special. I've been blessed with someone like you. The thought of you gets me so excited, and I'm lost in this world without you. Darling, you are my shining star,
Shining star.
and I love you just the way you are.
Just the way you are.
Darling, you are my shining star,
Shining star.
Oh, Stalin, we love you, love you, love you, just the way you are. And next song for the woman. Listen lyrics, man.
Who is you? You can't make a mistake. Now who is I can't make one too.
Oh, God.
Why the hell I can't get you irritated and make it up with a I love you? But when you start to talk about leaving, woman, you know that's a different thing. After putting in so much energy for we to build this family, you're backing out on your responsibility. No, it ain't your thing, it's my thing, it's them children's thing. I think for years you and I keep building. It's just a little of your sweat, woman, and my sweat that we put together just to make life sweeter for we son and daughter. And nobody never tell me that how to build this family it's going to be easy. So then we can split up now. I said to do that we must be cracked. How we go reach the river Jordan and then turn back. No woman,
We can't turn back now.
no woman,
We can't turn back now.
we don't make one vow.
We can't turn back now.
No woman, we can't
turn back now.
No woman, we can't
Turn back now.
We don't make one vow.
We can't turn back now.
Check how much years that I working part-time. Just last year they make me permanent. We stick together all through the hard time. Now look, today we got a few cents. Check how much morning we wake up hungry, but we maintain we love and we dignity. So don't let bad vibration from people or institution stop this love journey that we started on. No, it ain't your thing, this is my thing, it's them you's thing. I think for years you and I keep building. It's just a little of your sweat, woman, and my sweat that we rub up together just to make life sweeter for we son and daughter. And nobody never tell me that how to build one family it's going to be easy. So then we can split up now. To do that we must be cracked. How we gonna reach the river Jordan and then turn back? Oh woman, we we can't turn back now. No woman, we can't turn back now. We done make one vow. We can't turn back now. No woman, we can't turn back now. No woman, we can't turn back now.
We done make one vow, woman, we can't turn back now. So again, with all due respect to every lyricist that ever passed through soca and calypso music, I think any one of them would acknowledge the greatness that is Black Stalin when it comes to putting words together. I don't think it's a topic in music that Stalin didn't touch and didn't impact with his songs, his writing, his music, and the distinct voice and style of delivery. I was talking about that, him talking about the inability to connect with the crowd and not feeling like things right and studying the art form and that kind of thing, right? And one of the things that was always very, very interesting to me with Stalin, looking at him and looking back at older videos, is the genuine enjoyment he had in his performances. Just pull up any performance at any point in time, and you will notice that Stalin singing about heavy, heavy topics, as Franca says, is a heavy hand with a velvet glove, because he's singing about serious topics. Sometimes he's jamming people, you know what I mean? He's a true calypsonian, But while he's singing it, he have a way he used to smile. Something used to happen with his shoulders and his smile when you see he deliver a line right, or if he reached the punch or he reached the chorus, and yeah, that way he used to laugh, boy, and he thing his shoulders, and it's a genuine enjoyment for the feel, right? I'll tell you something. I'll tell him a story about Stalin, right? There was a time with Presentation College we had to play. Stalin was going to sing a song with the choir. And, of course, salute to Miss Limac, Mr. Every time I try to remember this man's name to say it on the podcast, I forget, he's the musical director in Presno. He's musical director or music teacher? Mr. Lockhart. Finally get right, Mr. Lockhart, right? Mr. Lockhart pull us in. That's Daddy Ken Kobe and friends, my father band, to come and play. And now we had to play for Stalin. So of course, I practicing and nervous. I know I wanna get this thing right? And something went wrong just before the show start. And I remember Daddy coming out and telling me, hey, you might have to pick up Stalin, Well, boy, no, I'm frightened. A groupie in real life, So I had to leave and go and pick up Stalin. Now, where Stalin was living is right close to Skinner Park. It's so fitting that a man like him is walking distance from Skinner Park. No matter how ill he would have been hearing every single Calypso fiesta from beginning to end because he's so close to Skinner Park where he living. So I go on and I build up and I pick him up, and all that coming in my mind is 1987 Calypso Monarch, what I would have seen on stage with Stalin and see the reaction of the crowd when Stalin sing Bun Them in 87. And now this man in my car, so I driving careful. I feel like I have a national treasure, so good. Don't let nothing happen. Don't let nothing happen between here and Naparima Bowl. I just want to carry Stalin safe, you know what I mean? And somehow we end up back out on Sapero Street. And I don't know how I end up there, I end up passing back out on Sapero Street now and to head back to carry him by the bowl. I must be so confused because now that I think about it, I have no good reason to be passing where I passing. And boy, listen, as I was driving across the road with Stalin, a lady, is parked up in front of buildings like that little Chinese grocery. So she parked up facing the building and had a reverse onto the road. And it's an older lady or something, like she mashed gas and she couldn't, she get flustered and couldn't stop. And reverse all the way onto the roadway and hit her next car and hit a lady who was carrying a baby. All you must think guys make up stories for the podcast, right? This is me and Stalin experience, right? And it was surreal. The whole place slowed down. It's one of them things where everything happened in slow motion. Now I'll tell you, nobody was hurt, right? It was funny, but the way the car hit the woman with the baby, it's almost like she ended up just riding up on the top of the car and the car stopped and she was safe and the baby was safe and everything. But listen, everybody was shaken up. Everybody around that scene because, of course, people at first was quarreling and cussing the person driving the car. Then they realized it's an old woman. She crying and flustered. So a man went and take her and carry her back by the Chinese shop. Let her put on. Somebody come out, move the car. The lady with the baby, somebody took the baby. The woman was You could say deaf and dumb. What are you supposed to say? Hard of hearing. Whatever's the right politically correct term, that is how the woman was. So the thing was a whole scene. And I watching and Stalin have failed you. Why I pass here to make this whole scene before you had to go and perform and all that. Thank God everybody was all right. And he was the first one out of the car, like going and say everybody good. And I looking at this whole scene, I thinking, what is happening right now? This is something out of a dream. This can't be in real life. And we get to play a little bit with him backstage. I don't think we had rehearsed with him. But backstage, in the little, if you know Naparima Bowl, there's some little cubicles, like a container or something in. And that's where we usually play and, I guess, warm up or whatever. So he came in with us and stuff. And I saluted Darren Ellis, who was the pan man playing with us. The band is Ken Corby, Darren Ellis, Nolly Me Too, myself. That was the side. And then some youth men from Press who very, very, very bad. One of them now is called Prince Pronto. But these youths very, very bad when they playing music with them. But Stalin had to sing this song and he keep telling us, he say, all this song good, all this song tight. He say, but I want to hear pap da pap. And this is what Darren would be the lead instrument playing the pan. So somebody else was playing the piano, I think. And he keeps saying what he wanted to hear. And eventually Darren played and he tell Darren, all right, well, every time the verse done, I want you to come back in hard. He said, I need to hear that. He said, when I'm ready to kick in my verse, I want to hear pap da pap. And this was his song that I had the pleasure as a novice musician who don't deserve to be nowhere near nobody like Stalin, had the pleasure of playing this alongside Mr. Lockhart, Mr. Limac, and the presentation choir.
You try with a federation, the whole thing end in confusion. Curriculum and then carifter, but somehow a spelling disaster. Mr. West Indian politician, I mean you went to a big institution, and how come you can't unite 7 million? When a West Indian unity, I know it's very easy. If you only rap to your people and tell them like me, them is one race, the Caribbean man, from the same place, the Caribbean man, that make the same trip, the Caribbean man, on the same ship, the Caribbean man. So we must push one common intention, it's for a better life in the region, for we woman and we children. That must be the ambition of the Caribbean man, the Caribbean man, the Caribbean man. You say that the Federation was imported quite from England, and you're going and form a carifter with a true West Indian flavor. But since carifter started running, morning, noon and night all are hearing, it's just money speech them prime minister giving. But I say no set of money could form a unity. First of all your people need their identity like one race, from the same place, that make the same trip, on the same ship. So we must push one common intention, it's for a better life in the region, for we woman and we children. That must be the ambition of the Caribbean man, the Caribbean man, the Caribbean man. CARICOM is wasting time, the whole Caribbean gone blind. If we don't know from where we come in, then we can't plan where we go in. That's why some want to be communist, brother, some want to be socialist, and one set a religion to add to the foolishness. Look, a man who don't know his history can't afford no unity. How could a man who don't know his roots form his own ideology like from the same place, that make the same trip, on the same ship. So we must push one common intention, it's for a better life in the region, for we women and we children. That must be the ambition of the Caribbean man, the Caribbean man, the Caribbean man. The Federation done dead, and Carifta going to bed. But the cult of the Rastafarian spreading through the Caribbean. It have Rastas now in Grenada, it have Rastas now in St. Lucia. But to run Carifta, yes, you getting pressure. If the Rastafari movement spreading and Carifta dying slow, then it's something them Rastas on that them politicians
don't know. I had to read for you Mia Motley's tribute to Black Stalin as we're talking Caribbean people, right? Anyone who knows anything about me knows that I love music. This is directly from Mia Motley, right? A quote. It is the key to all that I do. The truth is, one of those early artists who centered me and gave me context and perspective was Black Stalin. He had a way of drilling down always to the core. His message was rooted in truth, justice, and solidarity. Black Stalin was one of our region's finest masters of calypso. Both his lyrics and melodies expertly captured the rhythm and vibe and voice of the Caribbean. He was acutely conscious of our shared society, culture, history, passions, and concerns, and expressed them in his songs in a way we could have never done ourselves. In the true tradition, of calypso, Stalin was a griot, chronicling the issues and philosophies impacting our daily lives. No more was it so evident than an iconic Caribbean anthem that remains our holy grail of Caribbean civilization. Who else has more poignantly reminded us that we are one people on the same trip that came on the same ship, pushing one common intention for a better life for our woman and we children? That must be the ambition of the Caribbean man. Even more so as we get ready to celebrate 50 years of CARICOM in 2023. Not to be limited to the Caribbean region, Black Stalin emboldened those of us fighting the consequences of colonialism and the horror of apartheid with his exhortations to Peter in Bundem. This was a powerful reminder of the exploitation and the oppression of black people by whoever and wherever. Yes, his intention was achieved, to empower us with the resolve to keep fighting the battle for justice. Black Stalin's songs were really about nation building, a task to which he was as committed as any Caribbean leader. Yes, he reminded us early on that Dorothy and the tales of jamming her would have to take second place to his concerns where the oil money went. But perhaps the most far-reaching song was another anthem, that one of the black man. After centuries of dehumanization, black man and black woman, after centuries of dehumanization of the black man and the black woman, Black Stalin validated the importance and dignity of the black man. After all his hard work and struggles just to be able to fit with his woman. Yes, he saw us all. Our Black Stalin reminded us of the real concern of sufferers. Not to be wallowing in bigotry, not to be used as a background for many others in their causes, but in being singularly concerned to where the next meal is coming from. Never forget it. We give thanks for the life, work, and compassion of Leroy Calliste, who at the time of our Caribbean nation building reminded us that we can make it if we try. She said a lot more, right? But I'm not going to attempt to read anymore because me reading this is doing no justice whatsoever to Mia Motley's words. I think some people, you must let them say their own words, and Mia Motley is one of them people. But I wanted to highlight how she would have identified, because we heard her say many times how much Bob Marley plays a role in her view of the world and her view of justice and peace, and you could see the influences that she would have had, or how much influence that Stalin would have had on her, shaping her thinking just along those same lines. And when you look at the messages that Stalin chose to send and the types of songs that he sang, I don't wonder if this is not our Bob Marley that we not again. I don't feel we have him on the pedestal he's supposed to be on when you look at the impact of the music, how long lasting it was, and the lyrical ability. I want to get to a song that, to me, when it comes to lyrical ability, this is one of the songs that I go back to when I hear people. People like to argue about music and who's the best lyricist and this is one of the songs I usually go to show where Stalin is one of the greatest writers they ever had. And this again, there's not a topic that he wasn't touching, and there was the pan was a big part of what he was singing about and making sure that remained at the forefront, because he also had tribute to Winston Spree. Play one for Winston Spree. So they had another tribute, right? But it was also one of those songs that he won the Monarch with. And this, going back to the Monarch again, he would have won this Monarch along with I heard Alvin Daniels say these were the two most powerful songs ever entered in a Calypso Monarch, and any one of them could have stand up on their own, because people remember Burn Them, which I will play, because that shaped me and might be one of the reasons I love Calypso the way I love it now. But we must always remember that in 1987, when Stalin went with Burn Them, this was his second song, Mr. Panmaker. Just listen to the lyrics and listen to how important this is and how relevant this is up to today.
Maker, I hereby appoint you as Steve Savior. Don't you know the whole future of the steel pan? Yes, it lies in you, the pan maker man. It is you who must build the steel pan industry. So standardization is a must, you would agree. Because the secret of making steel pan is you alone must know, and you must carry that with you anywhere you go. You must know how many grams of steel it go take to make a base pan, or what is the degree of heat you need to burn a tenor pan, or what is the size of the rubber to beat a high double tenor. These are the facts that you must have under lock and cover. So let them pirates keep the drum, let them rent the skill of the man, but wrap up inside a we hand go be the secret of making pan. Hail, 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 Mr. Pan Maker. Forget about road mats and panorama. It is you who got to make this steel pan. And the pan beaters who must fight over competition. So you can't study about no judges and score sheet. It is you who must put the industry on its feet. Because long before panorama reached, steel pan was still around, and steel pan will still be there even when that gone. So you tell me, how many grams of steel it could make to make a base pan? Or what is the degree of heat you need to burn a cello pan? Or what is the size of the rubber to beat a high single tenor? These are the facts that you must have under lock and cover. So let them pirates keep the drum, let them rent the skill of the man, but wrap up inside a we hand go be the secret of making pan. Hit me. maker. Now is the time you must get together and decide on which styling you're using, so you could start right away on standardizing, because we can't keep on arguing forever on which styling that you have today better, because the most important duty today you have on hand is to try and keep steel pan for Trinbagonian. Just remember how many grams of steel it could take to make a bass pan, or what is the degree of heat you need to burn a cello pan, or what is the size of the rubber to beat a high double tenor. These are the facts that we must have under lock and cover. So let them pirates keep the drum, let them rent the skill of the man, but wrap up inside a we hand go be the secret of making pan. Hail, 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 Mr. Pan Maker. It's time for the scientists and professor. The time is right now more than ever, for we to get the pan down on paper, so they could start sending oil in plastic container. For we don't have we steel mill to take over, then we could walk about the place and beat with chests like we bad, and tell the world pan belongs to Trinidad. What we must know is how many grams of steel it could take to make a bass pan, or what is the degree of heat you need to burn a cello pan, or what is the size of the rubber to beat a high single tenor. These are the facts that you must have under lock and cover. So let them pirates keep the drum, let them rent the skill of the man, but wrap up inside a we hand go be the secret of making
Pan, 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 hey, hey. Listen to the lyrics, the man say good, right? When we talk about oil dependency in Trinidad and Tobago, right, which we deal with today, right? Mr. Pan Maker is 1987, right? We dealing with this today, where we deal with oil slump. The other day we had no money, now it's a boom and money loud. We had the surplus and thing. The man say in the end of the song now, if the oil industry start to put oil in plastic barrel rather than steel drums, is it that we lost the industry completely and we don't know how to make pan? Listen, it's one of the greatest when it comes to lyrics. And I'm not just talking about lyrics where it's nice to listen to and it's nice phrases and it's nice, it rhyming nice and it put together. The thing's so topical and relevant that from 87 to now, the songing like the same. We're still struggling a little bit with the respect to Pan Trinbago companies like Mitco and so on. We're struggling to standardize pan. Pan not taught in schools in the way it should be. Black Stalin not taught in schools in the way that he should be. Like when you listen to the way they put together songs, and I went and do English literature, and they had me listening to Hereford and whence forth and who come forth and all these things in Macbeth. I cannot understand Romeo and Juliet and Macbeth and Shakespeare up to today. I do not understand. I don't know what these people said. But I could certainly sit down and listen to a song where a man talking about something that I know from my country. So I can't understand for the life of me why our icons and our generals and the bosses could be dying off and going, and they're not taught in schools. That, you know, I feel like I have a duty to come and make sure that these things recorded and they put down in ink so that somebody who here long after me could see this and listen to this and understand who Stalin is. But these things should be institutionalized because, as I said, it's sad. But the reality is that I have been putting together my mind for this Stalin episode. I know it would be difficult because of how I feel about Stalin and my own personal experience and all that. So I had, and it's just so many songs to fit into a short space of time. I don't want to be too long, more than an hour and a half. And Stalin has so much music and so much themes of music that is hard to put together. I want to put it here one time as we hear that we have many other icons who we're going to be doing episodes like this for. In the near coming future, the reality is that we at the age where a lot of them who are in this era, they're getting up there. They've done their work already. Somebody had to run the next leg. Them first and them, they should be cocking up their foot and happy and glad at what they're seeing and looking back at it and looking at where they leave and looking at where somebody else carry it, right? I ain't gonna get into the state of the music now because it has songs that we had to play. And One of them songs is that other song from 1987, which I, as a child, remember one TV in the house on TTT alone showing 17 Anderson Street. And I could not stay up for Calypso Monarch. As a man can't stay up late in the night right now. I just struggle to stay up late in the night. But I remember maybe between sleep and wake, this song, it is impossible for me to describe to anybody who wasn't there what this song was in the country at the time. Because when that thing come on, Calypso Monarch, the energy of the country changed. And I know talking about the energy in the savannah alone. I encourage you to please go and look for Bondem. 1987 Calypso Monarch, Stalin. Stalin in a fire suit and the backup dancers in a fire suit. Stalin was telling Alvin Daniel that he was losing his voice during this performance. So what he do was he play a role of more of an orchestrator, like he was conducting the crowd to sing the song, because this was no easy Monarch to win. You know, think of the heavy hitters around 1987. Think of what Rudder was. I believe Rudder was just winning 86 with Hammer and them thing. So you have Scrunter and them on top of the game, Chalkless on top of the game, David Rudder, many men to beat there. But as Alvin Daniel said, the best combination he ever see going to a Monarch. And Stalin said his voice was going on. When you hear it, you could hear the voice, he almost shouting just to carry the tune, but the voice so distinct and the song itself so iconic on its own that I don't think I ever see. I can't imagine what it was like to be in the savannah in them times. But I can tell you from home, I've never seen the household look like that when this song come on. And from watching on TV, I never see the savannah rock like that. This Bondem.
Jano, Jano, hit me now. Because I'm begging the master, give me a walk with Peter. If some sinners coming, with them I go be dealing. Because the things that they do me, I want to fix them personally. Peter wait, Peter look Cecil Rhodes by the gate. Funny. Peter look the Englishman, we send Cecil Rhodes to Africa land. Funny. Peter take Drake, take Raleigh, but leave Victoria for me. Peter I just don't care what you say, but Mussolini he can't get away. Why?
This is my time for burning.
I'm burning and I'm burning and I'm burning and I'm burning.
Fire blazing.
Blazing.
This is your time for burning.
I'm burning and I'm burning and I'm burning and I'm burning.
Fire coming.
That I undergo from these madman and woman, I feel the full weight of the hand. Them need the oppress law, they never care about the poor. Peter, these people had a day. Well, now it's time for Stalin to play. Peter, wait, I say Peter, wait. Peter, look, Ian Smith by the gate. Funny. Peter, I don't want you to make fuss. Remember, I want Christopher Columbus. Funny. Peter, look, the English woman who in South Africa refused to put sanctions. Peter, I just don't care what you do, but Reagan going in the fire too. Why?
This is my time for burning.
I'm burning.
Fire blazing.
Blazing.
This is your time for burning.
Burning and we burning.
Fire coming.
Hit me now. Your hand done full already. You don't deal with the Führer. Go ahead and take Foster. But that woman Mary, remember that's my baby. So much confusion that she make. You got to give Black Stalin a break. Peter wait, I say Peter wait. Peter look both are reached by the gate. Bunny. With both I don't want you to waste time. Remember we still have Morgan behind. Bunny. Peter look the English woman who sent foreign troops in Africa land. Bunny. Peter I just don't care what you say. The Ku Klux Klan man can't get away. Why?
This is my time for bonding. Peter, keep the fire coming.
Blazing.
This is my time for bonding.
A burning.
Peter,
Hit me. Burn them boys. Come in. We burning. Peter stop pushing. It have plenty more coming. They call them from overseas, but leave my Loki. During my lifetime, to me they were so unkind. So much corruption that they make. Now it is time they must feel me way. Peter, wait, don't hold me back. Look, the one we draft the public order act. Bunny. Peter, look, catch that big belly fella. We carry my money down Panama. Bunny. Peter, look, the woman who bring foreign troops in the Caribbean. Bunny. Peter, I just don't care what you do, but ball head going in the fire too. Why?
This is my time for
A burning. Blazing.
You could tell me they can't teach that in school, boy. They could just pre-place names and all. You want me to call name? I will leave that for next episode. Let me keep this for Stalin, because I have a plan to update that Stalin song with all the new names who's supposed to be going in fire. But we'll keep that for your normal episodes, right? I also want to acknowledge that Stalin was never a man who stayed far from the youths and where the Kaiso and Soca and Calypso was going. And it documented with collaborations with Nadia Batson and so on. But this particular collaboration, which was a remix of that Bun Them, is one of the best I ever heard. I remember in a P&M Fete. When you see Stalin and Marshall hug up in that P&M Fete after singing the song on stage, he water in people's eye, you know, went to them, because in the midst of that love fire, Stalin just say, Judgment Morning. And here now, the whole of P&M Fete get destroyed. It was something else to see. It had to be there, but the song Love Fire was just playing and they singing like normal, and Stalin just watch people and say, Judgment Morning. And you know, I obsessed with the first line in songs. And Stalin have a few first lines that amazing to me. And Judgment Morning is the one, you know. It shows you the seriousness of what he come to deal with immediately. It's no flowery thing coming in. The man said, Judgment Morning. I by the gates and I waiting. And I begging the master, give me a walk with Peter. Peter is the man who's control the gate, right? For all you who not saw the heaven's gates, right? Just in case you didn't know who Peter was, right? So he's saying that you're going by Peter gates and you're going to close the gates on people and send them to hell. In case you didn't understand what this song mean. You understand? But taking Love Fire, Stalin, Nappy, Marshall Montano, the ecstatic circle at the time, right? Or parade.
All that is necessary is necessary. There's no up, there's no down, no left, no right, only the middle. The name of the message is love. Love fire, blazing, blazing, blazing. Love fire, blazing, blazing, blazing. Love fire, blazing, blazing, blazing. Love fire, blazing, blazing, blazing.
Jano,
right now we come spreading our love to every nation.
Jano,
we on a mission, and love is we only salvation.
But I tell you right now, we
is a brand new day. Tell the haters them we no come to play. When the fire start to blaze, you go feel the heat. It's a fire of love that you can defeat. No way.
Long ago the fire on the outside, this time it's burning on the inside. And when you get that loving feeling, it's a static and Black Stalin passing.
So let the fire burn high, 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 high. Show up your love in the sky. High, high, high. Turn up your fire inside. High, high, high. Show up the message in the sky. High, high. It's love we come with this time. Fire, blazing, blazing. Love we come with this time. Fire, blazing, blazing, blazing. We come back again. This time around we don't need no pain. In His holy name, tell them refrain from going insane.
I tell you right now, we not come to play, and we gathering the ones that gone astray. Keep this fire burning inside. Let's burn out the violence and the crime. Whoa.
In the West and in the Middle East, we want peace, all we want is peace. From Lavanti down to Caroni, let the love flow through everybody.
So let the fire burn high, 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 high. Show the love in the sky. High, high. Turn up your fire inside. High, high, high. Show up the message in the sky. High, high, high. It's love we come with this time.
This feeling that you can't deny, you can't resist no matter how you try. It's a fire of love that we burning, and throughout the world that we spreading.
So let the fire burn high, 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 high. Show up your love in the sky. High, high, high. Turn up your fire inside. High, high, high. Show up the message in the sky. High, high. It's love we come with this time. It's love we come with this time.
Beat away, beat away.
It's love we come with this time.
Beat away, beat away.
It's love we come with this time.
Beat away, beat away.
It's love we come with this time.
Blazing love fire. Listen, from here on in, because he have a slew of inspirational songs. You could call them nation building, you could call them uplifting, you could call them inspiration, but the man have a list of them, and they're bad. Almost every single one of them. Sometimes when I look back at the list, just for information's sake, his Monarchs was 1979 was the first one, the Caribbean Man and Play One for Winston Spree. 85, Ism Schism along with Wade Dorothy. 87, Mr. Panmaker and Bundem. 91, A Feeling to Party. You tell me what that song is. And Look on the Bright Side. And 1995, In Times and Tribute to Sundar Popo. So let me start with the inspirational ones by starting with the one that he win one of the Monarchs with, which is Look on the Bright Side, because many of the ones that I find are the greatest, he didn't win Calypso Monarch with. So it makes me wonder, like, what was the second song? And what... Who beat it? Who is it? Where is it he lost to when he sing these songs? So I will start with Look at the Bright Side. But here are some of these songs where he didn't win with after that, right? So this is Look on the Bright Side.
May be tough, but we must keep going. We feeling the pain, yes we keep holding strain, but we must keep fighting. Regardless of how we come, we just can't surrender. We gotta keep working towards a better future. We may never be always down and fighting to stay off the ground. We must remember our day will come. While we appreciate the little life got to give, regardless what's the hurt, we must think positive. Look on the brighter side, look on the brighter side, because I see a silver lining behind this great cloud we're passing. Look on the bright side, look on the bright side, for the bright side is where we going. Oh, yes, we going along the road, but we must keep going. Like if we commit a crime and we keep serving time, but we must keep fighting. Remember they say that nothing lasts forever. One day is for the slave, one day for the master. So always keep your courage up, don't allow confidence to drop. One day we'll be right here on top. While we appreciate the little life got to give, regardless what's the hurt, we must think positive. Look on the brighter side, look on the brighter side, because I see a silver lining behind this great cloud we're passing. Look on the bright side, look on the bright side, for the bright side is where we going. Oh,
bam 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 baby. It looked like if he was leaving us with something to ponder in his passing. You know, he said, "Let me hold these ones, all you know. It's no sadness and no tears when it's time for I to go, or for any one of we to go."
the treasury broke and they say that recession jamming. So to foreign countries really start migrating. They lose faith in the country, they say we gone down the drain. They say no more could we see happy times again. But the will to recover in my people, I have confidence. Although many may seem to feel that I talking nonsense, but the majority of we decide we're not going to run, because now is the time to show we patriotism. For we country facing, it's that is sour. So our people need us today more than ever. But in our fight to recover, if ever you feel to surrender, it have one little thing that I want you always remember. We could make it if we try, just a little harder. If we just give one more try, life would be much sweeter. We fired the old session managers we had working, and it's a new group we went and we bring in. And if the goods we require, them new managers not supplying. When election time come back wrong, there's new ones we bring in. But if it's one thing about my people, I could guarantee that they would never ever put party before country. And the country facing its darkest hour, and our people need us today more than ever. But in our fight to recover, if ever you feel to surrender, we have one little thing that I want you always remember. We could make it if we try, just a little harder. If we just give one more try, life would be much sweeter.
Plenty messages and songs. Listen, from here on in, it's bombs. You know? This is what you call an assault. When you look at the kind of bomb tunes, you remember I tell you I'm obsessed with the first line of songs? Here, next first line I'm obsessed. Hey, the first line. The first verse, right?
I don't want to hear that same song again. If you sing the same song, I might go insane. Because it's just all the same thing I hear. And how it have a better day coming. But anyhow that I look around, I see the whole world heading for destruction. People committing crimes and for they escape. They're doing all that for the children's sake. The lion and the lion and the lion and the lion. Because the dying and the dying and the dying and the dying.
Yes.
Better days are coming. There you go. And wait, man. Bus workers on strike, all workers down too. So your children can get bus to go to school. The electric people cannot agree. So no like for your child to cram for GC. Because two big man can't sit down like man and try to resolve a situation. The power hungry look they carrying on and using the little children as pawn. The lion and the lion and the lion and the lion. Because I'm looking and I'm looking and I'm looking and I'm waiting. Better days are coming. Looking down and wait, man, it's coming. Better days. $6 million for schools and $3 for bombs. $8 million for house and $60 for guns. That is the type of budget we're making to get ready for this better day we're coming. 18-year-old joining up military to kill 18-year-old that they never see. That is the type of preparation it takes to live in this beautiful promised land. Better days are coming. The bumping and the shooting and the lying. Better days are coming. Because I'm waiting and I'm waiting and I'm waiting and I'm looking. You can stop your crying. My son must live it there, no matter. Who go pick up no bomb and cause no destruction? Remember that what is not told to the whole and aching would be revealed unto babes and suckling. Keep on lying and doing you do, but one day the truth will pick up with you. Better days are coming. I'm watching and I'm watching and I'm waiting and I'm looking. Better days are coming. Because I'm dying and I'm dying and I'm dying and I'm dying. Children, children, stop your crying. Better days are coming. Better days are coming.
Better days are coming. Bombs. It's bombs away. I'm giving you a final three, right? And the final three making my top three. You know? As far as I'm concerned, it's three of the best Stalin they ever had. In times, it's probably up there. It's hard to decide. But when Franco Phillips described it as an iron fist or a hard hand with a velvet glove, this song encapsulates that for me perfectly. Where you're going along with a song that's about a very, very serious topic, but the way he put it across, it make you dance, it make you tap your foot, you take it in, you sing down to the last verse because it's a hell of a storyteller, you know. And this one is one of the best they will ever come across in terms of calypso writing.
Anytime you bounce up a racist and you hear them running them out, it have a whole set of people
don't know what they're talking about.
A racist is someone living happy and all their family doing well. So race talk is really not for people in the ghetto catching hell. Now tell them racists sufferers don't care about color. Sufferers don't care about race. Sufferers don't care who migrate from where or who living in who place. Sufferers don't care who from country. Sufferers don't care who from town. Sufferers only want to hear where the next food coming from. Get up early next morning. Go down in the 10 days yard. You'll see so much different type of people line up with the ID card. Or visit my village called Talparo, where they ain't get no water for years. People don't know the race, yes they don't know the color. With a bucket sit down shedding tears. No, tell them racists sufferers don't care about color. Sufferers don't care about race. Sufferers don't care who migrate from where or who living in who place. Sufferers don't care who from country. Sufferers don't care who from town. Sufferers only want to hear where the next food coming from.
Baby. Now, if you're listening to this podcast for a long time, and I hope you didn't just come to listen to this, I listen to the other episodes and then when you leave this, right? There are plenty. You know, just says 200, 100 or something, somewhere there. Anybody who listening to this for a long time, all the foundation people who tune in every week and they will know by now what my favorite Stalin is, because I talk about it all the time. But I want to play a version of it here, where it's nice and slow and people can hear the lyrics well to understand why this, in terms of writing and literature, this is where you had to teach children in school. I hear in Alvin Daniel's show, Calypso Showcase again, Stalin tell him when he went and performed Dorothy in Arima for the first time, he said, Chuck does come and tell him, he say, hey, here what's going on? I am a composer, Kaiso. He say, and tonight I realize that me ain't no true composer. He say, you is a composer. And I have plenty work to do when they listen to that song. And he did say that he was in New York when he had this song and he didn't plan to enter any competition or anything, but it's a good thing that he did because that song was unstoppable in 85. There's nothing was going to beat that. I mean, and the impressive thing sometimes is to go back and look at the list of songs that they beat her, because it's quality music throughout. When you see you make a Calypso Monarch final, you put out a quality piece of work, but you see Wait Dorothy is the same thing I'm talking about with heavy topics, but you take a heavy topic and you make people dance to it and enjoy themselves, and you tell people, people. He was saying, and he took a lot of breaks. He said that, listen, when things ain't going right, he come off the scene for a while, try to work it out, do some work, do some workshops, work on his craft, make sure he performance right, writing, delivery, everything. He was very much a student of the art, as much as he was a master of the art. And he was saying that he was off the circuit for a little while, and he said, well, when you see the response to Dorothy, it just could not be denied. So I want to play a version. I hear from salute to Mr. Shaq introduced me to this version, but listen to the lyrics clear.
When you look on a bandstand and you see people like Boko, Corby, Benji, and you see people like Pato, and you find out that our musical director happens to be Mr. Errol Lynch, I think we got nothing but the best. Would you give the band a round of applause? Would you give the band a round of applause? Would you give the band a round? And 4 beautiful sisters doing some beautiful chorus work for us. We call them the Review Angels. Give them a round of applause. Give them a round. Listen, it's my biggest problem? My biggest problem is my fans and them. Last year they come knocking down my door. Black Stalin, Black Stalin. I said, well, what happened? They said, listen this. All them other singers just sit down and write a little smut now and then. You mean you can't write one for we? I said, all right. I can write the smut for them. I sit down, I take up my pen, and I take up my paper. I start to write my smut. Play the thing, play. 1983, my fans beg for a favor. I decide to help them, so I write this soca. Last year they come back with a different story. They say they want something smutty about Gino Dorothy. Now on my fans, your future depend. So I sit down to write this smut only to please them. But as I take up my pen and my piece of paper, and I write out the first verse, listen what I remember. Oil money come, oil money go. Poor people remain on the pavement and ghetto. When Mr. Divider start to divide the bread equally, I go in and finish the whole damn Calypso about Dorothy. How I jam she, how she jam me. How we back, bread and we roll back. But once my people keep fighting for equal share of the cake, wait Dorothy, wait. Take up the challenge just to prove to the lot. I decide to show them I could write a smut about this Dorothy woman who come down to the island, and we happening with Bachi when we come out the steel band. Look, I done hire 2 girls to put on some short thing. Was to come on stage and show how Dorothy whining. But it's a wrong thing I doing. So when I strike up the first note, Suppose Jaja punish me with a stroke in my one throat. Because the Ku Klux Klan office still Alabama, and in Brixton, England, my people still under pressure. Anytime I see that South Africans are free, I go in and finish the whole damn calypso bomb, Dorothy, or a Chachi. And she jam me. Oh, we back, brother, and we roll back. But once my people keep fighting with so much children life at stake, wait, Dorothy, wait, Dorothy, wait. Passing to London, and you're sure to hear it. They just call calypso music, rum music. They say all entertainer today using the culture to help the people plan a better future. In this world today of nuclear and revolution, the calypso man still singing about rum and woman, but are just making sure that when they run in the big mouth, it's the Black Stalin music that they talking about. Because them politicians still can't form a federation. So much meat in the hole in Caribbean people still suffering. Anytime I see a true West Indian unity, yes, I go in and finish the whole damn calypso bomb, Dorothy. Oh, she jam me, and I jam she. Oh, we back, and we roll back. But once my people suffering with so much children life at stake, wait, Dorothy, wait, Dorothy. For verse and chorus is too much of lyrics. So sit down and write smart in this moment of crisis. My head saying yes, but my heart saying no. And I just follow my heart when it comes to writing kaiso. Now to all my fans who want smart, I'm very sorry, but my pleasure does always come second to my duty. And my duty is to make sure that my people life happy. And anytime that thing happen, we go jam down Dorothy. Because so much of famine in Ethiopia, assassination, I say going on in India. Anytime I don't have to live with them frightful things around me, yes, I go in and finish the whole damn calypso bomb, Dorothy. Oh, I jam she, and she jam me. Oh, we back, and we roll back. But once my people suffering for an equal share of the kid,
I say, wait, Dorothy, wait. Plenty reasons I have this song as the greatest. It tell you, and me, I want to put it well, it tell you who the man is, because the first verse, when he come in the chorus, he sing about a local problem. Oil money come and oil money go and them thing, right? The second verse, he said the Ku Klux Klan office still in Alabama, so you can take a global issue now. The third verse, when he come in the chorus, he say, within the region, when I see a real CARICOM and a real unity, I was singing about Dorothy. And then he end by talking about famine in Ethiopia and thing, and the man never get to finish the Dorothy Kaiso. And the man saying until the world is a good place, he ain't finishing the Dorothy Kaiso. But one thing I could guarantee you now is that the place that this man gone, he gone to a place where he could be happy and enjoy and see exactly where he wanted this world to be. And this is why I want to do this episode and make sure that we leave this place on a happy note, because Stalin could never die. Stalin can't go anywhere. With all due respect to his family and condolences to his family and the whole country who would be in mourning for losing an icon like this, I'm putting it to you that we cannot lose him. He cannot go anywhere. This is somebody who will be with us forever. It's up to us who here now to make sure that he continue to be a part of the landscape, to make sure that those who born after he gone must continue to know who he is. Because we have a way that sometimes we put these things on the back burner and all of a sudden things get forgotten and the archives missing and we don't know who is who. This is not one of them funeral type episodes where we sad to see people go and them thing. Black Stalin was not well. He suffered for long. He bat a good, 81 years? Bat a good 81 years. And he leave us with enough food for thought where we could carry it and somebody we pass the baton and we could run a next leg. So I say, listen, it's time for the man to go and finish the calypso about Dorothy, and we must stay here and keep him alive and well and keep him in this spirit. One party, black man. How bad you have to be to start a song and just say bam 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 for 16 bars? How bad you have to be?
House full, you're doing. Tonight we going and have some fun. I'm just feeling the party, the way we used to when we was young. Just put on something sexy, so you'll be free to move around. Make sure the children okay. We ain't coming home until morning come. Tonight the black man feeling the party. Tonight the black man feeling the jam, 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 jam. Tonight the black man just feels the boogie woogie. Come on, hold on to your man. And then we do a little worries by the doorsteps, but that tonight we have no time. We gon' deal with that tomorrow. Tonight we going out and line. We gon' do a little soca. We gon' do a little grind. We gon' do a little back. I show them youngsters how to wine. Tonight the black man feeling the party. Tonight the black man feeling the jam, 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 jam. Tonight the black man just feels the boogie woogie. Come on, hold on to your man. And let me do a little when we was courting, before we had this family. Anyway, Joey playing, two people short to be there was we. But since we start having children, to make them strong we give dance up. So tonight, my darling, we turning back the hands of the clock. Tonight the black man feeling the party. Tonight the black man feeling the jam, 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 jam. Tonight the black man just feel the boogie woogie. Come on, hold on to your man. And let me do a little oh tell me the fine make a going fine. I just simply have to tell them use the driving force behind. Use the one that gives me courage. Use the one that has me great. So for that tonight, my darling, we going out and celebrate. Tonight the black man feeling the party. Tonight the black man feeling the jam. Tonight the black man just feels the boogie woogie. Come on, hold on to your man. And let me.
Remember to keep him in celebration, keep him in memory, and keep him alive. You know what I mean? Imagine what is happening up there when he meet up with Foster and Rootsman and Arthur Koto and singing Sandra. You know what I mean? What is happening up there right now? You could imagine what a calypso like Dorothy going and song like now that the man get a chance to write it. Unimaginable. Great one of the greatest to ever do it. Impossible to discuss calypso without discussing the great Leroy Calliste, Black Stalin, and we take this opportunity to thank him for all his contributions, everything he's done for the art form. And we're closing off the year like this, and we're going to talk to you next year. Enjoy the new year, be safe. We're back to the normal schedule next year, but I had to get this done. So I will talk to you in a little while. Bye.